I'm going to walk through the Mackie VLZ4 Series 2404 VLZ4 so you can decide if it's really the mixer that fits the way you work, not just the one that looks good on a spec sheet. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Most people who sit at a desk with a laptop, a couple of mics and maybe a few synths end up feeling torn between a compact USB interface and a full-size analog board, and that hesitation is exactly what I want to clear up. First off, the 2404 VLZ4 is a 24-channel, 4-bus mixer that adds a USB audio bridge. That means you can run all your analog inputs through Mackie's preamps, route them to any of the 4 buses, and then pull a stereo mix straight into your DAW. In practice, I set it up in a small rehearsal space where a band of 3 guitars, a bass, drums, and a vocal mic needed both a live PA feed and a separate multi-track feed to a laptop. The USB connection handled the multi-track without any extra audio interface, which saved a lot of rack space and eliminated a potential point of failure. What really matters after you plug it in is how intuitive the routing feels when you're actually mixing. The channel strips are spaced generously, so you can see each gain knob, EQ band, and the AUX send controls without crowding. The 4 buses are labeled clearly, and the bus selector switches are tactile enough that you can switch a channel from the main mix to an AUX cue with a single finger, even if you're wearing a ring. In my tests, the bus assignments stayed where I put them, even after power cycles, which is a subtle but important reliability factor for anyone who runs the same show night after night. Now, let's talk about the preamps. Mackie's VLZ4 line is known for a clean, low-noise front end, and the 2404 VLZ4 lives up to that reputation. When I ran a dynamic vocal mic and a condenser drum overhead through 2 channels, the signal stayed transparent, and the noise floor stayed well below audible levels. The gain range is wide enough that you can bring a low-output instrument up to a usable level without hunting for a perfect spot. That said, the EQ is a classic 3-band design, high, mid, low, with a semi-parametric mid. It works fine for general correction, but if you need surgical shaping, you'll find yourself reaching for an external processor. So, if you're a producer who relies heavily on detailed tone sculpting from the mixer itself, you might consider a board with more advanced EQ. One practical strength that shows up only after a few weeks of use is the built-in effects routing. The mixer has 4 FX returns that can be assigned to any bus. I hooked up a single external reverb unit and routed it to the vocal channel's AUX, then sent the same return to the monitor bus for the drummer. The ability to share one effects unit across multiple mixes without duplicating hardware is a cost saver, especially for small venues or home studios. On the flip side, the mixer only provides 2 line-level inputs per channel strip, a mic and a line input, so you can't run 2 line-level sources into a single channel without an external splitter. If you often need to blend a line-level instrument and a mic into the same channel, you'll have to plan a little extra routing. Another hidden trade-off is the lack of motorized faders. The 2404 VLZ4 has manual faders, which many purists actually prefer because you can feel exactly where you left them. However, in a live setting where you might want to recall a saved scene at the push of a button, you'll miss that convenience. The USB interface does allow you to automate fader moves from a DAW, but you have to be comfortable with software control rather than a physical button on the desk. So, if you're looking for a mixer that can act as a standalone console with scene recall, you might look at a digital alternative. Power consumption is modest. A single IEC power brick runs the whole unit, and it stays cool even after an 8-hour gig. That makes it a good candidate for mobile setups where you can't afford a noisy fan. The rack dimensions are standard 19-inch, 1U, which means you can slide it into a tight rack or mount it on a folding table without sacrificing stability. I've also seen people use it as a standalone desk mixer, and the layout makes that feasible. You just need a small power strip and a laptop. Who should buy this? If you're a band or small venue engineer who wants a solid analog signal path, a straightforward 4-bus layout, and the convenience of a built-in USB multi-track interface, the VLZ4 2404 VL4 hits a sweet spot. It's also a good fit for podcasters or streamers who need multiple mic inputs and want to record each source on separate tracks without buying a separate audio interface. On the other hand, if you need a fully digital workflow with motorized faders, advanced EQ, or built-in effects processing, you'll probably be